I am Jim Collison, and live from the Gallup campus here in Omaha, Nebraska. This is Gallup's Called to Coach, recorded on August 12th, 2019. Called to Coach is a resource for those who want to help others discover and use their strengths. In this case, we have a BP10 special edition today. We have Gallup experts and independent strengths coaches share tactics, insights, and strategies to help coaches maximize the talent of individuals, teams, and organizations around the world. If you are listening live, we'd love to have you jump in the chat room. Best way to ask questions during the program. If you are listening to the recorded version, you can send us an email on anything, any questions that you might have. coaching@gallup.com. Todd Johnson is our host today. Todd's Gallup's channel leader for the Builder Profile 10 product here at Gallup. And Todd, always great to see you. Welcome back to Called to Coach.
Yeah, thanks. We're excited about this one. And I'm going to break script here and just say a very special and kudos to you, Jim Collison. He's leaving town tomorrow to a podcast thing in, I don't know, Singapore or something. And
don't get their hopes
3,000. And Sangeeta and I had in tremendous amount of emails coming off all coach email that I sent maybe last Wednesday or Thursday, and literally Jim Collison just only kept saying yes, okay, we can do this. So we pulled this thing together really quick, and that just speaks volumes to who you are, and we appreciate you more than you know. And you don't even have to edit that out. You can leave that in the formal version of this recording.
Nice of you to say, Todd. Thanks.
No, it's so heroic, and thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I'm going to take advantage of doing a couple quick updates because I'm not sure when our last one was, but I got a little ahead of my skis on the last email. We do have the learning module being in editing. It's in proofing. It's finished. It's great. It's awesome. The voiceover's fabulous. The learning's fabulous. For those that want to know what it's going to be about, it's very similar to the learning module over on the CliftonStrengths side of the house, but obviously focused on the BP10 report. We're not charging for it. It'll be available to everybody who's taken their report. We're now looking early September. I thought it was days away. I put it in the note. You could contend I was still accurate because who knows the definition of days, but it's coming in early September. I'm so excited about it. I'll probably send out a coach all email with the link and alerting people, but I do suggest folks go through, and those coachees that want to, have a interactive experience with their report. We're really excited about it. Thank you to Dr. Badal and her team for pulling that together. It's good things are worth waiting for every now and then. BP10 is moving on to the Access platform. I know the coaches are all familiar with Access. They probably know a lot more about it than I do, but it's happening. I don't have dates. Nobody hold me to a date. But it will be this fall, and we're excited about that. It's going to get a lot more visibility.
I can give you a date, Todd.
Oh, good.
September 20th. It will move when all of the GSC moves. So
okay, great.
September, that weekend, that Friday night, so they can check back in on the 21st or 22nd. It will be there as well.
Cool. Well, we're excited about that, and bravo to that team that did that. There's more moving parts behind some of this technology than people I think account for. More and more communities are signing up for this Future Builder Challenge where we lay the dragnet across the kids. We just did another one in Omaha, a day and a half of who you are and building companies and getting mentored by the community. And they pitch at the end of their parents. And this last time people were crying and it was, it's just transformational. We've got at least 8 or 9 communities in Nebraska that are now at some form or iteration. They can be small, they can be large. You all know in Mexico, we give the assessment to 20, 30,000 and funnel them up. Or it can be, 20 or 30 kids in a small town that every kid that learns about their talents and to build and gets a little reaffirmation. We're so good at affirming the athletes and the intellects. We're getting really good at affirming those with the talent to build who may not throw a spiral or get a perfect ACT. And it's awesome. So I continue to be a champion of that, and I encourage. We've got some neat videos coming together. We've got a lot of collateral to help communities get these up and going. So didn't want to have a call to coach without that plug. Now, I've said this again on a couple coach emails. We have over 300 now. I put you in the BCC so it doesn't go crazy with reply alls, but we were really excited about the engagement and interest in this project. This is not akin to when we made changes to an earlier assessment. We rallied some coaches together and said, hey, let's, you're our customers, you're our very important clients. What do you think? There's a little bit of that nature within this initiative. And we were just, Sangeeta and I and Christy were inundated with questions about, participation and timelines and deliverables. So we, again, with very little advance notice, pulled this webinar together. Dr. Badal is going to lead us through a presentation. Hopefully we get all the questions answered. Normally, as you coaches know, I love to jump on the phone and, spend long hours talking through. The volume of this might not be available, or might not lend itself to that. So we're going to get as much of the questions and scope pulled together in this webinar. We might have to do some more broadcast emailing to the extent that we don't answer everything today, which is fine. Now I'm going to pass over the proverbial microphone and podium to my best friend at work, Dr. Sangeeta Badal. I say this every time, but I've continued to watch her around the world on this topic. There's no one better. And she changed her office around because usually it says best-selling author right there on the desk. And she in her humble persona has apparently taken that off, or maybe she put it somewhere more prominently in her office and we just can't see it on this camera. Don't know. But best-selling author, best friend, expert on this topic, Dr. Badal is going to scope out and talk to us about this very exciting, very fast turn research initiative. Sangeeta, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, and welcome to this webinar. I am beyond excited that you have stood up and shown interest in, I think, a really, really important topic that we will be researching in the very near future. Work has already begun, and we could not do it without your help. So here goes. The very first one, Jim. Yeah. So, we, of course, all understand that the people side of any venture is way more important than the product type or the industry that it belongs to or the strategy or even the funding side. And the people side is usually not paid that much attention to. People form teams with their best friends and their relatives or colleagues and launch initiatives, and then as the business starts growing, it becomes an issue in terms of how do we define roles and who does what and who's the best fit for a particular role. So we are looking at team research and trying to understand how to create successful and sustainable teams. Is it the well-rounded ones that do better, or is it the teams that have predominance of a particular kind of talent that do better? How does the talent affect the processes in the team, which is the functioning of the team? How do people interact with each other? How much they trust each other? Are they all aligned on a business goal, etc.? Or is it a particular configuration of the roles that really drives performance? So all these questions are on our list to experiment and to research. And I cannot say enough thank you for being here for that. Next, let's very quickly move to what that research plan is like. So I'll very quickly go through the 4 steps that are required here, and then we will launch into the process pieces of how to get that done. This research involves one pre-survey, that is one pre-survey to be completed per team. We ask questions about the roles and responsibilities of the team members. We ask a few questions about the processes in the team, the alignment to the future, understanding team members, having self-awareness about each other's talents, or why does a particular individual work a certain way. We'll have a few questions all wrapped up in about 10 minutes. That's the pre-survey, one pre-survey per company. Then step 2, we move on to assessing the talents of that team, which is taking the BP10. Now, there are maybe a few of your teams who have already taken the BP10, and so we will talk about your identification of those individuals to us so that we can pull their data from the database. They do not need to take the BP10 again. The participants will receive, of course, as you know, an online developmental report, and then the team results will be collated by Gallup. This is where we will provide you with the team results of all your teams who participate in this particular study. The step number 3 is coaching and feedback that you provide to these teams. We don't want to over prescribe this step. I think the duration and frequency of those coaching sessions is completely at your discretion in what you decide with these executive teams. However, we do recommend that you have at least 3 coaching sessions over 3 months, and then we will measure these teams again. So moving on, Jim, to the next slide. Number 4, or step 4, is that all these participating teams then answer a post survey, which is again a 10-minute web survey that we only need to complete 1 per team. So any individual of the executive team, preferably the founder that is heading that executive team, should be taking this particular survey, just like the pre. And we ask similar questions. We ask about roles and responsibilities, specifically if they've made any changes based on your recommendation and based on the results of the team report, and then their future growth aspirations, year-over-year growth expectations, again, etc. The last step, which is the 5th one in this research, is optional for those teams that would like to stay in touch with the research project with Gallup. Will continue then to take the post survey. Again, the arrangement has to be through you, through the coaches, but those teams then can say that, yes, we would like to continue to track our performance, specifically looking at it through the prism of the talent configuration of the team. And then we will do a 6-month post evaluation for the next 2 years. Every 6 months, we will send them, or we will share with you that you will share with them a link that will allow us to then gather that every 6 months.
I'm going to underscore that because it's such an important point. This is not and can't be, and hopefully everybody understands, can't be a relationship between Gallup and your companies, your coaches. This isn't a, pass the ball and then we're going to run with it all. That's just not the design. So please don't set that up or that expectation that somehow Dr. Badal now becomes a team coach for, 100 or 200 companies around the world. It's just not feasible. So the only interactions we're going to have through this process are going to be with you, the coaches, and then we're going to look to you to bring the value and drive the participation, at the company, at the team level. Is that right, Sangeeta?
Absolutely right.
Okay.
Yes.
It's important.
Yes, very important. You're the pin that holds this together.
The fulcrum.
The fulcrum that holds this together. Benefits to the entrepreneurs who agree to participate in the research, of course, self-awareness and role clarity. So each individual will not only understand their own talents, but also the role that he or she is best fit for, as well as the roles and talents of the individuals who are their team members. And also, the most important, I think, is how do you configure that team? This is an understanding that these entrepreneurs will have after working with you, getting your mentored and coached by experts like yourself. How do we create a team that is the right mix of skills and talent? And then how do we position people to be successful on that team, I think would be the greatest learning from this experiment that we are launching. You will help them understand their strengths and their blind spots and how to fill those blind spots and how to solve business problems, keeping in mind the existing talent that is there on the executive teams. Moving on to the recruitment of the participants, we would like to include coaches who can help us get a minimum of 5 companies. We are looking for your clients, if you have 5 or more that you consult and advise on a regular basis. We also would recommend you reaching out to, say, accelerators, incubators, or other organizations that support entrepreneurs in your ecosystem to be part of this exercise. But we do have a minimum of 5. It gets logistically it gets impossible for us to accept one company at a time. And so that is the requirement for being part of this research. Who are the participants we are looking for? We are looking for executive teams. What I mean by that is 2 to 5 key decision makers. We are not looking for solo entrepreneurs. Uh, Entrepreneurs who have founding teams that they work with to make business decisions that drive these businesses forward on a day-to-day basis. We prefer really to stay focused on early stage businesses. And what I mean by the definition of early stage is 0 to 5 years. Companies that are less than 5 years old or up to 5 years old. The reason for staying focused on the early stage businesses is that this is the stage where businesses the talent of the founding team has the most impact. The businesses are smaller in size, from a few employees to under 20 or under 10 employees, and every decision that is made by the founding team has direct linkage to the outcome or the business performance of that particular venture. As the team starts becoming bigger, and usually bigger also happens with age, so age of the business and the size is highly correlated. What happens is, as you start putting middle management layer in there, the influence of the founding team members' talents become more distally related to the outcomes. And so my preference is to work with early stage businesses. However, you might have companies that are still really small in size, but they are over 5 years old. So they could be 6 to 10, which we determine as mid-size or mid-stage companies, or 10 years or older, late stage. These are companies, but companies that are still smaller in size, where the influence of the founding teams is not diluted through a mid-management layer. They are still the ones who are making decisions that is driving that business forward and has a direct impact on the business outcomes. And so I do say here that mid to late is accepted only if you think that your founding team has a direct impact. Companies, I was going to initially say less than 20 employees because that is really what I'm looking for. However, I did make it a little bit broader and said any company that is less than 50 employees. We are still looking for companies that are on the smaller size side, so that, again, going back to that link between the talent of the founding team to the outcomes is really what we are after. Any industry is welcome. Next, here comes the process of how this will be rolled out so that you can see exactly what needs to be done. In August, starting today, we request our coaches to recruit at least, like I said, minimum of 5 companies or 5 teams, executive teams. When you have your teams identified and those teams are on board for being a participant in this research, we would like before August 23rd to have the number of companies that you're sponsoring for this research, name of the companies, the completion status as it relates to BP10 to Christy_Trout at Gallup.com. I'm sure many of you know Christy. She's an important part of our BP10 team. We would really encourage you to send an email to Christy Trout with number of companies, name of the companies that are included in the research project, and whether they have taken, some of your teams have taken the BP10. If your teams or some members of those teams have taken the BP10, we absolutely do not recommend taking the BP10 again. We would request you to send the name of the individual, the access code if you know that, and the date of completion, or even a tentative date of completion of that BP10 assessment would be really helpful as we then go and get their data from the database and include that for this particular study. So August 23rd is the deadline for you to nominate 5 companies who have agreed to be part of this. Minimum of 5. It could be more. I'll be very happy with that, but minimum of 5 companies. In September, probably around the first or the second week, depending on how quickly we can put that cohort together that we are requesting your help with, Gallup will send you a link to the pre-survey, which is that 10-minute survey where we ask them a few questions about their team functioning as well as a few outcome measures. So we send you that link and the link to the BP10 for the individuals who have not yet completed BP10. So we share that with you all, and the executive teams will have 2 weeks to complete the pre-survey as well as the BP10. For those who've already taken the BP10, they can just take the pre-survey and log out, and then we do not send them a link, or they do not have to go through the BP10 again.
And Gallup, sorry to interrupt, but Gallup is sponsoring the codes for those that haven't taken it, correct?
That is correct. So when I said you are sponsoring the teams, I meant you are putting up these teams to be part of this research. There isn't any cost associated with it that you have to bear. This is going to be Gallup's contribution to helping you coach these teams better with the data that we provide back to you. And BP10 is on us, pre-survey and post-survey, all on Gallup. Moving on then, in October, between October and December, Gallup will share the team talent data. So we will send you the talent data in an Excel sheet for all the teams that you have sponsored for this particular study. You will provide the coaching sessions or the mentoring sessions, helping these teams make sense of that data, helping them then incorporate that into their day-to-day business decision making. We recommend 3 sessions. You can structure it any way you want in terms of the number as well as the frequency of the sessions. In January then, once this whole process is done, Gallup will again send out a post-survey link to every participating team, and we will send it to you that you will then share with the teams. The executive teams again will have 2 weeks to complete the post survey. And the post survey is for us to see if they've made any changes based on the feedback and the mentoring that you have provided them around the talents for their teams. The ongoing optional piece, which is the R&D for the longitudinal study, businesses that would like to continue, they need to communicate through the coaches to Gallup that we are interested in following this up every 6 months. I think what that also gives you is an opportunity to continue that relationship with them in terms of helping them look at their business problems through the prism of talent, especially the talent of their executive team. And Gallup will then share a post survey every 6 months. We will ask them different kinds of questions in every post survey to really understand the kind of progress they've made in incorporating the talent piece into their business decision making. And it ends there after 2 years.
Well, and we haven't talked about this, but we're live. And one thing I'll offer, and you can correct me because I'm not sure this makes sense, but maybe we have a somewhat frequent one of these webinars, but make it available, or at least design the structure for the companies you're coaching. So we could get on, after maybe we have the data, and not to supplement, but to support your coaching sessions. We could have Dr. Badal teach us about all the items within the pre-survey and what the team Excel grids look like. Again, it could be, we wouldn't do that with the companies per se, but we could do that for you all as a supplement, literally, that you might be able to go into one of these companies and fire up the recorded version, say, let's just sit around and watch this for half an hour and prompt the conversation. We'd be more than willing to do that in support of your coaching with this team data. So I just offer that out there. If we have the interest. I know, we've done a lot of that in related projects. So
yeah.
So I threw up the Q&A slide. I'm sure there are a few questions that are available for you. By the way, if you did miss any of it, it's all recorded. You can go back and watch those slides again if that's what you'd like to do. Available for you. But what are your questions out there? Margaret asked, do we market our coaching sessions? I don't know what that means, but do we market? So do the coaches market their coaching sessions?
Any sessions that you would like to have with the teams is completely at your discretion. However you would want to structure it, however you would want to um, have that relationship with these executive teams is up to the coaches. What it costs to them to have you come in is between you and the teams, how long those sessions are and how many they are. Our recommendation is that you have at least once a month touch point over those 3 months from October to December, once you have the data in hand. However, that portion is completely between you and the executive teams.
And Sangeeta, I think what she's implying is should they go out and try to discover teams like this and then kind of invite them into the process as part of, maybe they're not currently working with them, but if they found teams that were like this, should they?
I would, but that's
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. You can recruit new teams. You can have teams participating who are already working with you. It's entirely up to
Sangeeta, can you have two teams within the same company?
No, we would like to have one executive team that is primarily in charge of making key decisions to drive the business forward.
Okay.
Don, go ahead.
Go ahead. Nope.
Don had asked the question, do you see the coaching being done with the entire leadership team at the same time or separately?
Again, Dawn, that is up to you on how comfortable you feel in terms of having one-on-one as well as team sessions. Our experience has been that having the entire team sit down together and then go through the strengths and the gaps of the team, have them bring some business issues that they're dealing with currently and weave those into your coaching and mentoring sessions works the best.
Manish asks, is there a communication pitch for the companies that we want to include in this research, something we can use to get their acceptance?
No, this is it. And we've got a lot of materials that are on the website. We just can't get into many people have asked, hey, can you write my proposal? Can you review my deck? That's just not a business Gallup can be in. We've got over 300 plus or 13,000 certified coaches around the world. So no, you need to, hopefully we've given you enough material through the PowerPoints and through these websites for you to be able to build that there locally.
Yeah. Okay. And there's also that document, the Word document that you can use language from in terms of what we are doing.
And I think the Word document, is that the same? Have I posted that already? Or
I've sent that. That was part of my initial.
Okay.
And then there was a follow-up PowerPoint to those that showed interest in this call.
Got it. And if they have questions, they didn't get that, Todd_Johnson at Gallup.com. Even though I just gave that out, I think that's going to be okay.
Sure.
Karen asked, can two coaches partner to recruit 5 or more teams?
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. We just need 5 teams per contact.
Okay. Aaron asks, let me pop up there.
We're seeing all these questions, by the way. Is that supposed to be happening? It's
yes.
freaking me out a little bit. Okay.
Oh, no. I'm showing them so the audience can see them as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Is there any basic structure that you want us to use to avoid any differences in coaching or specific things covered? I'm thinking about it from a data validity POV for you all.
Great question, Erin.
Great question, yeah.
We are not really in this particular research project measuring what that coaching looks like or what are you delivering. That is a different research question. And hopefully soon, after we get this particular one wrapped up, we might reach out back to you to structure it in a way where we are consistently delivering the same content through our coaches. But that research design and research question is different. What we are really interested in right now is to see what is the existing talent configuration of these teams. And as they are structured in currently, how does that impact the performance of the team? We want to understand what role do the roles play. If a team has 2 rainmakers versus 3 rainmakers or has no rainmaker, how does that impact the performance? So our research questions right now are very much on the distribution of talent in the team and its linkage to outcomes. But we'll get to the coaching.
No,
part.
that's a great question. And we have a design. It's not this study, but where we'll have contrast groups and we'll have longitudinal impact. And that's the one I might have got ahead of myself a little bit on some of those emails about the, publishing and Nobel laureates and things like that. we will do that, but that's not this project.
Right.
She asked a follow-up question. So like a few basic like to see guidelines may be valuable to keep us aligned. And then she says, so you're in search of the data around the team makeup versus individuals. That's a question.
We are interested in the team makeup, but that has to be through our understanding of the individuals. That is the reason we are asking each member of the team to take the BP10, because that gives us the data on that individual, and then we can put the team data together to see how the talents are aligned on the team. I don't know if that answers that question.
I think so.
Margaret asks, is this slide deck going to be available for them?
Yes.
The one we just used? Okay. Sure. And then will Gallup provide CliftonStrengths codes, I'm assuming, for the leadership team?
No.
Okay.
This is only a Builder Profile 10 project. And so we do not have the CliftonStrengths as part of the research design.
If you all have existing CliftonStrengths clients, it's a really good point, and you want to integrate that into what your coaching looks like, that's all more power to you, and we would encourage that, but it's not within scope here.
Anything else? We're out of questions. I'll throw out a kind of a last call into the chat room for those folks. Todd, anything else, Sangeeta, you want to put in?
There were a lot of questions in the initial emails, and I think we actually, Sangeeta, you did a spectacular job walking us through the construct. I had, after our meeting this morning, I had every intention of interrupting every 15 seconds, and I didn't feel the need to interrupt once. You encapsulated the goals and the structure beautifully. I would say that, we reserve the right to adapt timelines based on what kind of inputs we get. We probably reserve the right to look at some teams that maybe, or coaches that come in with, 3 or 4, are at this time, our minimum's 5, but we're, the goals are very clear on the power of what this learning and can do at the company level. If I were a coach, I would see this as a calling card to a chamber. I'd go into a chamber. I'd go into a business association. I'd go into, there's multitude of entrepreneurial startup-y kind of groups in everybody's community and say, I've got a pretty exciting opportunity, and it requires some time and being taken seriously, but there's no out-of-pocket cost. We're assuming the $20 codes. We're assuming the research and analytic time to pull this all together. We just kind of require that we adhere to the overall guidelines that we've discussed. So if I were a coach out somewhere in the world, I would see this as a great opportunity to go engage with an accelerator, with an incubator, with a group. I guarantee you, every chamber's got 15 different, groups of companies that are trying to help small businesses grow, and this is a heck of an opportunity for them. So, but that's certainly up to the coaches.
Also, I would just add to what Todd just said, is that if you need more information on how really to consult or advise your clients using the data that we will be sharing with you, the team level data, then Born to Build has a full chapter on it. It has an example of a real business where we have utilized the strengths-based approach to solve some of their business issues. And that would be a good reading also, and a resource that you can utilize to work with the teams that sign up.
And everybody should know at this point, but all the exercises in Born to Build are available on your dashboard under resources. Just having go through and register unlocks them all in writable PDFs. I know a ton of coaches around the world who are using those activities as part of their, coaching backbone, if you will. And we encourage that. We did that on purpose. We did not want to add any friction to helping our coaches engage with their coachees. So those are available.
If someone would have only created a bunch of webcasts around all those tools as well.
Jeez, there are.
I wish somebody would have thought ahead on that one.
Archive, and most people on the call are pretty engaged coaches, so they know this. But we have 4 different webinar sessions where Sangeeta unpacks each of those activities, and I would strongly encourage. Where do you find those, Jim? I can never find any of your stuff.
They're on that. The page that you were referring to. Those videos have been included on that. They're on our YouTube channel as well.
Yeah,
so
good.
they're available. Okay. Margaret had asked a question. Gallup envisions only group coaching to keep the format the same for everyone. Applies apples to apples comparison. 3 coaching sessions for the collective team, not individual coaching. Correct?
Yes. I think, again, we do leave it to your discretion and how you want to structure it. Our recommendation is at least 3 with the team.
So they have a little leeway beyond that if they're doing individual or different kinds of coaching, correct?
A lot of
Yes.
leeway.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of leeway
Yeah.
in how you want to structure it.
Perfect. All right. I think we're out of questions from the chat room at
great.
this point. Yeah. Any final words, thoughts, comments? I know it's scary to say that to you, Todd, but Sangeeta, any final thoughts, comments?
I just want to say a huge thank you. It means a lot to us. This relationship with you means a lot to Gallup. We've learned a lot from you, how you've rolled out things, what you've shared with us, and we have tried to make changes and improve what we offer. I think this is, for me, the most important part of what we can do with BP10. And this is just the first of the many research projects that Gallup would like to do around founding teams. I cannot thank you enough for raising your hand and showing interest, because we couldn't have asked for more engaged coaches. And thank you so much for doing that.
Bravo. I do need to have a few closing remarks, Jim.
No, I was
I've only
joking.
got
I was
20
joking.
minutes.
Yeah, you're fine.
No, Sangeeta and I and a whole bunch of others have been on this journey for quite a while now. Call it the result of the world poll, and we need more startups to be successful. I've said this on other webinars, podcasts, or whatever we call this. The teams, the founders are teaming up with people that look like them, think like them, act like them, talk like them, because that's what humans do. It's human nature. It's safe. It's comfortable. And what we're going to prove here, and we've been saying anecdotally, and we know this from the behavioral economic work we've done for decades around the best companies in the world. People are spiky, but teams need to be talent-based, well-rounded. And this is going to give us a chance to validate what we already know around, and specifically with the BP10, that, I think this startup, shuttering wires that have crossed has a whole lot to do, Sangeeta said in her opening remarks, with the construct of the team. It has nothing to do with the product, service, or widget. It has to do with the fact that, we might be all experts sitting around the room running around. There's no sales. Well, you might need a rainmaker in there to, or we can't scale because we're all out overselling our capacity in the back room. Well, maybe there's room for a conductor. This is going to give us tangibility around what we intuitively all know around business growth. And so I would reiterate what Sangeeta said. We're thrilled with the relationships we've got. We've got classes mostly around the world, not as many in the US, but we have coaches on today's call and from Manila, the Philippines, from last week's class. And we have an increasing army of evangelists and those doing really good work around this science in a number of different countries. It's very, very exciting. And we're going to put some numbers and some hard math to what we all intuitively know, because when you sit around with a couple founders, it doesn't take long to figure out there's some blind spots. And if we can alleviate those blind spots, we can really make a difference out there. So bravo to everybody who joined the call. Some of you are up in the middle of the night. Thank you. For those that are listening, because again, very little notice. We encourage you to engage. It is a bit of a fast timeline, but it's important. And build on. Go team, take state.
Okay, sounds good. With that, we will remind everyone to take full advantages of all the resources we have available at the Gallup Strengths Center, soon to be Gallup Access. If you go to my.gallup.com, that'll take you to Access. None of that, as of today, August 12th, none of that has been ported over yet, but post September 20th, that will be the new location for all your Strengths and BP10 resources available out there. If you have any questions around that, you can send us an email, coaching@gallup.com. Don't forget to visit the coaches blog, coaching.gallup.com as well. Maybe you were watching this for the first time and you're saying, I'd really like to get some BP training. You can see a complete list of all the training sites and courses and locations that are available. It changes all the time, so you want to make sure you stay up to date with us. courses.gallup.com. You can join our Facebook page as well if you want to join us. Facebook.com/group/BP10. I didn't make it too hard for you to get there. Love to continue that conversation as well as Facebook. Well, with that, I'm sure there will be some questions, and we'll look forward to answering those as we move forward. We'll also use this platform as a way to update folks in the future. So you want to stay close to us. If you want to see a complete list of all the live webcasts that we do, and even get a notification when we go live with a new one, follow us, gallup.eventbrite.com. It's out there, all the webcasts that we do. Thank you for joining us today. We'll look forward to the next update that we have for you. With that, we'll say goodbye, everybody.